Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Shared Purpose. This webinar is in collaboration between Creo Early Learning Partners, a CPD provider accredited by the Professional Regulation Commission, the UNOYA Empowerment Group, transforming organizations through goodwill and well-being, and Teacher Mama Thrives, a creative outlet born out of the challenges of nurturing, living, and homeschooling amidst the pandemic. I am humbly the teacher mama behind Teacher Mama Thrives, and my name is Michelle Tambunting. I'd rather be called Teacher Michelle. I am a teacher by profession and at heart, also the directress of Young Creative Minds Preschool, educating the hearts of children since 1999. But above all, ako po ay nanay. I am a mother of 2 boys, 13 and 9, and I have been joyfully blessed with learning to find myself as I nurture and homeschool my son with autism. Tonight, I have the immense pleasure of being your host, your handholder, your cheerleader. Wala lang po akong dalang pom-poms. There was no time to make some. And your co-learner. Together, let us seek ways not just to survive in these extraordinary times, but to enable ourselves, our families, and our communities to thrive. We want to make that shift from surviving to thriving. Whatever you may be going through, we want you all to know that we see you, we support you, and we celebrate you. To all our fellow co-teachers out there, I'm giving you a really big wave. And our tribe of mothers, fathers, parents, if we have grandparents, kami po ay natutuwa na makakasama namin kayong lahat ngayong hapon. Kayo po ay aming nakikita, pinahahalagahan, pinasasalamatan, kinahahangaan, at sinusuportahan. We are overjoyed to connect with you today. In fact, tell us where you are from, kung saan po kayo galing lahat. I read out a few. So in the chat box, we would love to hear from all of you from where you are. So pakisulat sa chat box because we would love to recognize this loving tribe we are creating together today. So we have Negros Oriental, we have Davao City, Cagayan de Oro. As I mentioned, we had Talisay, we had Batangas, Eastern Samar, Cotabato City, Oman, Valenzuela, wow! Leyte, Catanduanes, Imus, Cavite. Thank you po, hindi kayo masyadong mabilis mag-type. Sa dating seminar kasi po, hirap na hirap ako humabol. Surigao del Sur, Bacoor. Marami po tayong taga-Cagayan today, Albay. Pam from Makati. Let's look at the past ones. We have a big group from Cagayan de Oro today because that is Creo's hometown, Palangi, Albay. So before we start, I want to remind everybody we have Angeles City, Pampanga, Malabon, Nueva Ecija. Welcome to everybody. So before we start, I'd like everybody to go get your coffee, your tea, your beverage, because this is going to be really our informal meet today. And we want everybody to feel relaxed and comfortable as we learn from our valuable and special speakers today. Tonight, we engage in a full-hearted conversation about mindsets, positive communication, the choices we make, and cultivating a common ground. To help us start and maintain mindfulness throughout the webinar, I am so pleased to introduce an educator, a Reiki practitioner, mother of 2, and life coach with a professional diploma in family ministries. Everyone, please welcome Christina Pangilinan.
First and foremost, gratitude from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for each and everyone who are here with us. I'll be guiding you through a mindfulness meditation. For starters, most of people would say, oh, meditation, it's so hard. Meditation, it's kind of vague. But for this afternoon, we'll be doing a very, very basic meditation wherein I will teach you how to just breathe Every time we get stressed out with all the daily uncertainties, worries, and fears, and as mothers working from home, it's very difficult for us, right? Especially for us teachers, handling students and at the same time handling our household. And don't mention about our spouses as well and in-laws in our households. Anyway, so if you're ready, let's start. So it's very simple. All you have to do is to follow my voice. We'll do a dry run first of how to breathe. All right. So what I do for simple deep breathing meditation, all you have to do is breathe in through the nose, inhale, and exhale through the mouth. Let's try. So in 3, 2, 1, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. 3, 2, and 1. That's how slow we should be breathing. All right. So 2 more breaths before we officially start the mindfulness meditation for 10 minutes. All right. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just follow my hand. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. As you inhale, you feel a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxed, so that we can really share ourselves, our love to ourselves. Actually, this is self-care for you, mommies and educators. And after receiving that self-love for today, we can be able to absorb everything that's going to be discussed in this webinar and be more happy and calm and mindful. Okay, so basically, I'll be journeying with you with the awareness breath. All right, so as we go along, I'll be asking you to have move your hands on your heart area later on. All right, but for now, let's start. Okay, so let's first sit on our most comfortable position. Okay, and then you can put your palms up or palms down on your lap. Okay, all right, and then it's more easy for us to have that feeling of calmness and relaxation. We do the breath work by as we close our eyes. All right, so we will start the session. So put our hands on top of our laps, palms up or palms down, it's up to you, and start closing our eyes in 3 and 2 and 1. Let's start breathing in through your nose. 3, 2, 1, and exhale through your mouth. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. As we inhale, feel the air going up to your nose, down to your throat, down to the lungs, filling up the lungs with air, with good air, and slowly breathe out. Be mindful of every breath. The slower, the better. As we inhale, feel your body from the crown, from your head, down to your shoulders of your muscles, getting relaxed. Just continue breathing in and out. In and out. If there are thoughts coming in and out, it's fine. You just let it be. What's more important now is we focus on our breath. Inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply. We slow down our thoughts, slow down our worries. Just leave it at that. This is time for us to pause as mommies, as parents, as educators so that we can give more if we are filled up with self-love. Continue your breathing in and out. For today's meditation, I'll be focusing on self-love, gratitude, and empathy to self and others. Just continue your breathing in and out. As I have mentioned, if there are thoughts coming in and out, it's fine. Just let them be. Just focus on your breath. For the next set of breaths, I want us to put our hands, both hands on our heart area. We'll be focusing on self-love and gratitude and empathy. For the next set of breath, inhaling love. We inhale love, self-love, and exhale gratitude. 3 more. Inhaling love and exhaling gratitude. 2 more. Inhaling love and exhaling gratitude. Self-love and gratitude come together would go a very long way for ourselves, for our very busy everyday life at these uncertainty times. We always forget to have that self-love. So breathe in self-love and exhale gratitude. 2 more here. Inhale self-love and exhale gratitude. Just continue your breathing. Feel all our body parts from head to head, having migraines, headaches, being cleansed with love, unconditional love. Our mind, cleansing our mind, giving that self-love to have that clarity, to be of help for ourselves and for others. And then let's move towards throat area, giving that throat area that love that it needed so that we can speak more of loving words and kind words and forgiving words to ourselves and others. And then for the next breath, we focus on the heart. Now it's time for us to imagine the energy inside our hearts getting bigger and bigger. Can you feel the energy now? If tears are gonna flow out, then let it be. Let's give ourselves our self-love so that we can give more and love more of others who are in need. I'll be counting the last 10 breaths. 10 and 9. Feel the love in your heart emanating, magnifying, that it's so ready to burst and explode that we can extend ourselves to others who are really in need, especially our kids, our students, and even strangers that we don't know. 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and last 3 deeper breaths. 3 and 2 and 1. Whenever you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Otherwise, have 3 more breaths before coming back. Let's wait for the others. I hope you were able to feel God's presence and that self-love so that we can give more to others. And thank you very much for having me this afternoon as your mindfulness meditation facilitator.
Thank you very much, Christina. Thank you. That was a wonderful way to start our session tonight, really. And I think hopefully it shows all of us a new way to begin our stressful days this coming school year. Not just how to begin, but I think it should show us when to pause and take the time to breathe and to remember what Christina taught us today. When things get overwhelming, because I'm sure it will at some point or another, and it does. So I hope we all remember that this is a great tool for us to use this coming school year. Kahit ako po, nung nag-umpisa ang pandemic, I was filled with many anxieties, and I really still am. They come and go. Sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're small. It really depends on the day, the amount of work, and the responsibilities I find I need to face. But the months have really taught me to take much better care of myself. Dati kasi ho, akala ko, pag-alagaan ko muna ang sarili ko, that was selfish. But I've learned over the years really that self-care is very important to take care of my disposition and my well-being. Kung ubos po tayo, kawawa po ang nasa paligid natin. We hope that this exercise has helped all of you begin to find what keeps you grounded and at peace when things get difficult. So I am excited to move on and introduce the first of our sharers tonight. She is a licensed professional teacher and a registered psychologist. She maintains a private practice in Davao City. Maayong hapon po sa inyong tanan sa Davao. We have some participants from Davao today. She holds a Master of Science in Clinical Psychology from De La Salle University. She is a certified practitioner and practicum supervisor of choice theory and reality therapy. She is a founding member and the current president of the William Glasser Institute Philippines. Yet her most important role to date is as wife and mother of 2. To tell us about the power of connection, please everybody, let's all welcome Katrina Vandenbroek.
Hi. Good.
Hi, Katrina.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, so I am also, like you, a mom of 2. I have 2 toddlers, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and 1 dog. So the dog is our eldest child. So today I'm going to talk about the power of connection and why this is just so important for us right now, especially in this time of COVID. You know, there are a lot of different kinds of connection, like the internet connection, which is also very important for us to be able to reach out and connect with everyone. Imagine I'm all the way in Davao City, and there are people who are as far as Batangas, Cebu, Cagayan, and or Moc. We're all able to connect here, and that's just really so amazing. And that's exactly why we have to remember that being able to connect with other people is essential for us to be able to thrive, especially in this really trying time. No, and there are different kinds of connections. It's not always a good connection that we make with people. Sometimes we can also make bad connections, right? Or negative connections. What we have to remember is that connections are dynamic. They're always changing. If we start off on the wrong foot with somebody, we can always change that. Okay, that is within our control. And that's something that I would like to share with you today how important it is and how we can use connection as our power, as our superpower, to be able to reach the people that we're trying to connect with. And in this situation, we're trying to connect with our learners, our teachers, our parents, right? So how can we do that? And how can we be able to step into their lives, right? Because that is what connection does. Connection is the doorway for us to be able to build a relationship, for us to be able to enter into the other person's world, for us to be able to see what is important for somebody, what they value, so that we can become closer to them. Okay? So in my next slide, I'm going to share with you what connection is in choice theory language. So choice theory and reality therapy was a concept that was created by Dr. William Glasser, who is a psychiatrist. And what he says essentially is that through our choices that we make in life, we are able to create for ourselves the kind of life that we want and deserve, the kind of life that can bring us satisfaction, the kind of life that can bring us happiness. And it is through these choices that we make that we can make this for ourselves. Okay? And one of the concepts that he talks about is the quality world. The quality world, if we can go to the next slide, the quality world is a part of our brain. It's a special part in our brain, not the physical part, but it's he relates it to this special area in our brain where we place all of the things that are valuable to us, everything that is important to us, people, places, values, beliefs, ideas, no, ideals, anything that is important to us, that is in our quality world. Okay? And knowing what is inside our quality world will help us understand why we do the things that we do. Okay? Because these things are important to us. For example, family. Because family is important to us, we put in the effort so that we can build relationships with our family. So pictures in our quality world, they can be different for me. It's different for you. It's different for each one of us. There can be some similarities, but in general, there are differences also. And it is these differences and that will help us understand better what's going on within that person. Okay, and it is through the similarities that we can actually use this so that we can connect with other people. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, for example, as a parent, I would like to ask you, what is important for you? Okay, can you type it out on the chat box if you have access to that? I'd love to hear from you. Can you answer what is important to you as a parent right now? Okay. For me, what's important to me, okay, is to have time. Okay. For Miss Jelly, it's kids, right? To be able to spend time with their kids, maybe that's important for me too. To see them learn, to see them thrive, right? To have peace of mind and me time, to have good well-being of the family, to be able to communicate better, to have financial stability, to be able to feel their hearts smiling. So all of these things that are being said in the chat box right now, these are your quality world pictures. These are what's important to you as a parent, okay? And that is the very first step to building a connection. First, we need to build a connection with ourselves. We need to understand what is inside of us, okay? What is important to you? What do you value? Okay, time and good relationships to others, health and safety of my family, all of these things that are being said, this is where our behaviors are coming from. Okay, this is why we're so concerned, why we follow the news, why we, take all the measures to prepare ourselves, to protect our families. This is the reason why, we, even if we're really tired, we take time to connect with our children because we want to be able to feel their heart smiling, to be able to communicate with them, right? To be able to teach the mind and touch the heart. Yes, all of these things, that's what is important to you as a parent. Now, what about as a teacher? So I think there are some teachers, some people here are also joining us as teachers, right? What is important to you as a teacher? Can you share this with us? So maybe it's being able to connect with your students, even if you're doing this online, right? To be able to reach into their hearts, reach into their minds, even if we're far away. Maybe it's to be able to have a good, stable internet connection, right? So that you can have smooth delivery of your lessons, right? You want to be able to have connections with your students, with your colleagues. Yes. So we have to be able to understand that this is what's going on within our teachers. Okay, teachers want to be able to mold the potential of the students. They want to be able to, still be able to connect with their colleagues, and this is very important because that's a factor that that has been taken away from us, right? You don't see each other anymore in the hallway between classes, and your students also after class or before class, before recess, the extra time you have so you can mingle with them, right? This has all been this has all changed for us, right? So but this is still important to us as teachers, right? That's something we need to recognize. Because it's important to you as a teacher, we need to be able to strive and adapt and find ways so that we can transform our abilities to connect on this level. Okay, so now that we're limited to online learning, right? How can you create those connections, create those good relationships with your students, with your colleagues, with the parents, right? And as a parent, now we're taking a peek. This is our chance to take a peek into the mind of our teachers and understand what is important to them. And the same way for teachers, we're taking a peek into the mind of the parents. Oh, so ito yung mahalaga. Ito yung gusto ng mga magulang para sa kanilang mga anak, 'di ba? And okay, there's also answers here like to be able to deliver well in remote teaching, to ensure quality delivery of instructions for students' learning, and to be able to impart the values during and after the lesson for them to be able to reflect on themselves, to help others find the place where there is depth of awareness and courage of vulnerability. So all of these words that are being shared right now, these are so valuable. We have to remember these because this is our key to connecting with our teachers, to connecting with our parents, because this is what's within them. This is what's important to them. Okay? And we also have to remember that we are not the only people in this relationship. We also have our children, our students, right? Children for the parents, students for the teachers, right? So we need to understand what is important for our child. For my kids, it's for them to have fun while learning. It's for them to be able to move freely and to be able to connect their lessons with everyday life, for them to be heard. I know sometimes my kids, when we do online classes, music classes, they always wave at the teacher because they're trying to catch their attention. So, kids, they thrive on that attention. So how can we now find out what is important for our children? Can I ask you, parents and teachers, what do you think is important for them? Okay. To be able to learn with love and interest, to have fun, yes, to be heard, right? To be able to achieve, even to be able to express themselves. And this is, I think, one of the most challenging things for us right now, because there's, especially if you have a big classroom, Now, how are we able to understand and listen to our each student who wants to express themselves, right? That is the challenge for the teachers. And what I'm going to share with you today is how we can, collaborate and work with our parents, because one of the ways that this can really work beautifully, work successfully, is for the parents and the teachers to work together so that everybody is on the same page, because everybody wants what's best for the child, right? So together, now it's not just a drop your kids off at school and pick them up later on, and then just we work off whatever energy they have at the end of the day. Now it's really hand in hand with the teachers. How can we work with our students so that we can mold them into, and we can bring out the beautiful people that they are. Okay, so in the next slide, I'm going to talk about how you can use this information about the quality world to connect with these people, okay? When you understand what is valuable to that person, now we know for parents, it's important that they are able to feel, to be able to create an environment of warmth, right? For a teacher, they want to be able to impart, not just touch their hearts, but also their minds, to be able to connect with the learners. And for that child, they want to have fun. They want to learn. They want to feel supported. They want to be heard, right? So now that we know this, okay, now that we're reminded of this, we can create an environment that will support these ideas, okay, that will support these pictures in the quality world. Because when these pictures are met, when these pictures are satisfied, when you see them, when you experience them, then you can feel a higher sense of well-being. Okay. In the next slide, I'm going to teach you how you can dig into the quality world of the people around you. Okay, so this is an important skill that we need to practice and learn, and it will take some attempts for some. No, learn to ask questions. Okay, ask questions. Ask your child how they're doing. Ask them what's important for them. What do they want to learn? How do they want to learn it? Okay, and get to know them. Really get to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. The same way that you're asking them these questions, ask the parents, ask the teachers. Okay, get to know them. Teach, what are your teaching strategies? How do you do this? Get to know them. Understand what their strengths are also. Okay, and work together. All right, and then you tell them about your child. Share as much information you can about your child, and when you talk about that, you'll be able to learn so much more. And it is through this information that you will be able to, level up and improve how you connect with one another. Okay, kasi naiintindihan nyo na ang isa't isa. Now, you're on the same page. Okay, on the next slide, please. Okay, so Dr. William Glasser has told us, this is him. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But what he's taught us is that, the only behavior you can control is your own. As a parent, as a teacher, we cannot force other people to do something that they do not want to do. Right? Hindi natin pwedeng pilitin yung bata kung ayaw nilang umupo kasi pagod sila, antok sila, they're not interested. We can't force them to sit down. They might sit, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be listening, right? Or that they'll be in the mood to learn. So we have to remember that we can only control our own behavior. So knowing that, how can we then change, our approach so that we can relate better, so that we can connect better, so that we can support better, right? And there are these habits that Dr. Glasser shared with us. There are connecting habits and there are disconnecting habits. And these connecting habits are when we support people, when we encourage them and we listen. And when we listen, it's not just with our ears, but it's with our hearts, it's with our eyes, it's with our senses. By being with them, completely present, no? And just accepting them, accepting the limitations, no? Accepting the challenges, accepting the strengths, and trusting that they know their capabilities, trusting the teachers to handle the work, to care for our children, to teach our children. Right? Trusting the parents to be able to share with you what challenges they might have with their kids, what their kids are really good at, right? And respecting one another. When we respect somebody, we can understand that, okay, I might have a different point of view, you might have a different point of view. That is okay. No, we work on mutual respect. We understand that there are differences and that you cannot change that other person. But you have a choice to alter the way that you see things so that you can work together, right? And negotiating differences. So it's not saying that only my way has to be followed, but it's understanding that we have to find a common ground. Okay, it's negotiating with our children. Okay, if you're not in the mood right now to study, what can we do about it? Because this is information that you need to learn. Can we learn this later on? Or maybe if they want to play, okay, we can play a game, but this is the game that I have for you, like maybe a game that's related to their lesson, right? So it's really trying to use what is important to our learners, what is important to our educators, to our parents, so that we can create an environment where everybody is able to have a productive learning environment. Okay, and then if there are connecting habits, there are some disconnecting habits too. And the disconnecting habits are when we criticize, we blame, we complain, we nag. No? When we do these behaviors, when we make side comments like, oh, for example, a comment about the teacher, oh, ano ba yan? Ang bagal-bagal ng internet connection, bakit ganun, why is it so difficult for this teacher to find a proper internet connection, or even the student, no? It's when we do these things, when we criticize people, when we blame them, no, we start blaming all these internet companies. This is just generating negative energy. This is just pushing everybody away from us. This is pushing ourselves away also, even from ourselves, right? From our children. Now, when we nag our children, we make them kulit, we ask them, remind them, oh, do your homework already? Oh, dapat makinig ka, dapat ganito, ganyan. We have to understand that this is a very special time. We did not prepare for this. We had to, everybody is adjusting. Everybody is just, trying to find their way right now. So how can we, as a person, change the way we approach things so that we can build more connections instead of pushing people away, instead of hurting the people that we love around us, and acknowledge that it's okay to struggle right now, because we're all struggling. I'm struggling. I have two kids. I don't have a helper. And we're all stuck here at home right now. And I also still work on the side. So it's really a struggle to balance everything, right? But that's part of it, It's really a part of life. And we can either fight and try to keep pushing, and or we can just go with the flow, right? And then we have threatening and punishing. And when we do these things, especially with our kids, what we're instilling in them is more of fear, and that's something that will make it more challenging for us to connect with them. When they come from a place of fear, then later on it will be difficult, it will be more challenging for us to connect to them, to get into their worlds, to understand where they're coming from, no? Mas mahirap kunin yung loob nila. No? To bribe them or reward, the stakes will just keep getting higher and higher every time. So we need to, instead of bribing them and rewarding them, understand what makes them tick, what motivates them, what are their interests, ano yung mga na-enjoy nilang gawin, right? And work from there, okay? And finally, I would like to share with you, on the last slide, this is a little bit of a pabaon, for you to remember to have a bias. Bias means when you favor something over the other. And right now, I would like to encourage you to have a bias for yourself. A bias for yourself. You can also have a bias for your child. Bias stands for your breath, intention, action, and space. And like Teacher Christina shared with us this morning earlier, the breath is such a powerful tool. When you feel stressed, when you feel stretched, breathe. Take a break. Take a breather. Allow yourself that time. Okay? And when you do something, set an intention for it. When, for example, if you want to build a strong connection with your child, make that your intention, so that in everything that you do, you can ask yourself, if I say this, if I do this, will this help me create a stronger connection with my child? Okay. If I take an extra 5 minutes to, cuddle my child so that they'll be in a better mood during class, will that help me strengthen that connection? Right? And action. Remember that we cannot control anybody else. We can only control ourselves. So through your actions, you can change what is going on with you, right? You can change how you approach something, how you approach a challenge. And don't forget to give yourself space, okay? When you give yourself space, you are allowing yourself the time to heal, to recover. No? Sabi nga ni Teacher Michelle kanina, we have to have our me time. We have to have our self-care. Sometimes we're so busy holding space for everybody, especially, teacher mamas like us. No? When you're holding space for somebody, that can be very tiring also if you're holding space for your family. As a teacher, you may be holding space for your class. But we have to remember to hold space for ourselves too. Give yourself that break. Give yourself time. Give yourself time to recover also. Okay? And with that, I end my talk. Thank you very much for listening. And you can find me, if you have any other questions later on also, you can find me at Build Your Happy Place. Hi, Teacher Michelle.
Hi, thank you, Katrina. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I found myself taking down notes to be able to share with our teachers, and so I don't forget what you said. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for this chance.
It's really true that connection is what we should all strive for as we hold hands and partner with each other, as we nurture and educate our children, diba, during these times. I'm so excited to use your idea of the quality world. I was taking down notes because I think for the teachers out there, it's a great concept to present to your parents at the beginning of the school year, maybe send them a questionnaire. I think it would be really nice to find out what their children's quality worlds are like, diba?
Yeah, exactly.
So I took so I took down notes because I find that my son who has special needs, his teacher does that. So his brain breaks are all about Thomas to Train because that's his quality world.
Exactly, yeah. And that's just so powerful, right?
Yeah, galing. So for the teachers out there, I think what Katrina shared with us is really valuable. It's something, a way for us to really show our our parents this school year, that we are concerned about the quality worlds, not just of the children, but of the family, so that we can connect with them better. I also love what you said about when you feel stretched, take a pause.
Yes. Yeah.
Kung pwede ko ipatato sa kamay ko, patatato ko bukas.
Totoo. Yeah.
But I think as veteran teacher Rita Pearson once said, every child deserves a champion. An adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be.
Yes.
She also said, kids don't learn from people they don't like. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I wanted to go ahead and maybe ask you the first question we had planned for the kitchen table,
Sure.
which is really, I think, I as a teacher mama myself, homeschooling both boys during the lockdown. My younger son, who's 9, really is the one that needs much more assistance. So I have to be right next to him. And at the same time, there's work. And so I feel many times that what's left for them is minsan yung latak na lang because you come from work, di ba? So your patience is, like for you, what is your biggest challenge? What has your biggest challenge been as a teacher mama working from home the past couple of months? And how were you able to cope?
For me, I think it's really, being able to find that balance because, like I mentioned kanina, we don't have a helper, and I have 2 toddlers. So that means that our house is just, in disarray the entire time. Magulo. It's being able to accept that, okay, even if I fix things, if after a few minutes, it's going to end up, everything messy again. And it's trying to get into that mindset that, we can't go out as much as we used to. And we used to take the kids like to the beach. We would go out to gardens. We would go out to yung mga resorts and the kids would love and thrive out there, right? But now we're stuck at home. And so that means that now we have to transform the house into their, like, finding ways so
they're
that
outdoors.
So, yeah, they can stay outdoors. So my husband actually, he ended up building a playground outside for them, like a swing and slide and everything. So we're lucky na lang na at least, he was able to build that. And so being able to, really find that balance where sometimes it's just really so draining because sometimes I also have to work. And when I'm working, and I need to, make sure that somebody else tends to them. So like my husband also. So it's, finding a way also to work together with your partner so that everybody can, at the end of the day, kind of fill up their own cups also. Because at the end of the day, I'm not just a mama, but I also, still want to do some work on the side. So that's important to me. That's part of my quality world, right? So when I'm able to do that, then I'm able to mother better for them also.
Yes. Yeah. I love that you talked about the quality world because when my son was diagnosed with autism when he was 2.5, I went through the period where I said, should I continue teaching other people's kids or should I give that up and teach my son myself? So it was really humbling to realize on the journey that I was not capable of doing that because there was so much emotions attached to me as his teacher if I were to do that. I did the whole sunrise program and we did the playroom time at home, but I love what you said. Na it's part of your quality world. I think if I gave up my career as a teacher and as an educator, then my quality world would diminish.
Yes.
Diba? So talagang I think for all our teacher mamas out there, our teacher papas who are in the audience, I think it's really so important that we learn to find that balance. It's not about giving this up. Because sometimes we feel when we do that, we may feel that we're doing the right thing for the time being, but I think how it affects our quality world.
Yes, yes. And it's understanding that it's a picture that you have there. It's something that's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Kasi
Yeah.
if we deny it also that that is something important to us, that can also lead you to feel more frustrated, like more tired kasi there's something pala that's not being met. Diba?
Yes, that's so true. And I think the sooner we tell ourselves that it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to make sure that the house is spick
Yes.
and span today, or that the food is good, or that
Yes.
I don't have to be Martha Stewart, or I don't
Yeah.
have to be the perfect mama.
Mm-hmm.
I think once we, diba, there are days, wala akong magawa kundi tingnan lang sila. Kasi
Yes.
yun with my mouth open, parang
Yes,
I
yes.
just have nothing in me left, but
Yes. Yun lang kaya mong
tulala ka na
gawin.
lang.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the sooner na we tell ourselves it's okay
Mhm.
to have those days. So I really love you when you said when you feel stretched, take that pause.
Yes.
Kasi
Yes.
if we really allow ourselves to get stretched too much,
Uh-huh.
it's also not good for all of us.
And when we take that pause, it's also a really good teaching moment for the kids. No? Because sometimes
Yeah.
they can get too wired. No? And
Mm-hmm.
then it gets really overwhelming for them now and they don't know what to do. And kind of when we show them that we can also get overwhelmed and that we can breathe
Yes.
through it, maybe do a bit of yoga, a bit of meditation, invite them for that.
Yeah.
That can also show them that, you can do something about it when you're feeling overwhelmed.
I think also one of the things I wanted to ask you, since you're a psychologist and for behavioral science and all that, sure the teachers in the audience today are asking also, because we have your administrators or your school leaders will give you a certain schedule for online classes, and there's a, so even me as a directress of the school, where we were able to do what we felt was boot camp online for the summer, but I really felt it was too much for the children. What
Mm-hmm.
would be the optimum um, amount of time? Because my older son, who's 13, he's grade 8, sila, they are online twice a week lang.
Okay.
But that's from 7:40 to 3. But
Okay.
they have 10-minute breaks in between classes. But he's 13. So
Okay.
in
Yes.
between classes, the rest of the time, they're module work.
Mm-hmm.
I hear of other schools who have kids who are online 4 times a week for that many hours. It's
Yes.
too much. For
Yes.
I guess if we could hear from you, what would be a good, fair, healthy amount of time for the early childhood and maybe for the grade schoolers, the high schools? What would it be like?
Um, I think this is a pretty sensitive topic, no? Because it
Mm-hmm.
depends also on the learner, no? Their
Mm-hmm.
age. So if they're younger, definitely you can't sustain their attention for, more than an hour even. An hour is matagal na din yun, right? Like my
Mm-hmm.
kids, we do, and it's a movement class already, right? But
Yes.
after like 30 minutes, they're already all over the place and elsewhere. And it's just me and the teacher and the other parents, right? So it's really,
Yeah.
it depends kasi on the child din. Kasi may mga ibang mga bata na
Oo.
who are comfortable sitting down, listening, and they enjoy that. No, but there are also others who
Yes.
are more kinetic. They prefer moving around. They prefer being able to interact with the people and not just
Yes.
diba? So it's trying to I guess on the side of the school understand what's important for you when you
Yeah.
teach the child. Like, what are you after,
Mm-hmm.
no? And ano yung kakayahan ng mga parents nyo? What can your parents what's their capacity? Are they able to sit down? Because if you're doing 4 times a week, does that mean that the parent is also there with the child 4 times
Mm-hmm.
a week? And is that also realistic, like, especially for younger
Yes.
children, 'di ba? Na may
Mm-hmm.
nakabantay diyan sa sa anak nyo for 'di ba? For 4 times a week. So it really depends on the learner and what the parent can do. And at the same time, as a parent, you can ask yourself also, you know, what is the reason behind, you sending your child to school? Like, what do you want them to learn? How do you want them to learn it? What kind of, what kind of learner do you want? What kind of learner are they even? Like, are they more, do they thrive in like something more physical, something more like personal, that, and that this is not the end of the world. If they miss a few lessons, or if they struggle through a little bit, it's okay. It's totally okay. Diba? There will be a time where you can plug in and fix the cracks. Diba?
That's so true. I think also I celebrate and honor what you said, because even when we were planning out the curriculum for the coming year for the kids, because we're early childhood, you get so, during the school year in actual physical school, you get so caught up in academics and making sure the competencies are there at the end of the year, making sure they pass their exams for big school, that they find the right school for themselves. And we were telling our teachers this year that our goal now as educators really is not to deliver that kind of learning or replicate our old classrooms. It's
Exactly.
we now are parang first responders in a sense to what the kids are going through.
Yes, exactly. That's so precious what you just said. That the teachers are the first responders, and that's true because, our kids, they're also undergoing a lot of stress right now because of all the adjustments. All the restrictions. They're not able to see their friends. They're not able to see family, even cousins. Right? They're missing celebrations. They can't go out, go to places where they used to have fun. Their favorite places are closing down. There's just so many changes that are stressing them out also. Diba? And kids, they're very resilient. We have to remember they're very resilient.
Totoo yan.
And they'll bounce back. But we need to also create that environment where they can thrive. And that's, allowing them to play.
Talaga.
Because when they play, it's like a completely different world for them. When they get to play, that's where they release, any pent up na anxiety, stress nila, any insecurities that they might have. So we have to create that safe space for them to release that.
And I think that's so valuable what Katrina said to all of the teachers out there this year. The kids are going to be in front of their gadgets or their laptops all year and all day. And I'm sure there'll be parts of us that will feel pressured that we have to bombard them with concepts and as much learning videos that we can to get our lesson across. When I think I'm currently watching the Play First Summit online. So at 9:00 the videos come on, and I love how wonderful they how play is really the most important thing for our early childhood, our kids. And I think for those early childhood educators in the audience who are going online, I think that's one thing we need to really work on, is how to hold the space for play for them online. Think of creative ways to do it. I think even, one of the most valuable moments we had during the summer was after class, when there were some kids who would stay because ayaw pa mag-leave meeting. And they would take their laptop and say, Teacher Michelle or Teacher Carla, I want to show you my toy in the room. And they would take it with them. And, and they would open their box or drawers and show us one by one their toys. But there wasn't much communication going on. And diba, we're so pressured to say, what's that? So what color is that? Parang we're asking them na naman to perform. And one of the most valuable times was when we just sat there and watched her play. And it felt like being in the classroom again, which I think is really important for us.
And, opportunities like that, that's a gift. That's a gift that we need to learn how to appreciate also. Na the child is bringing you into their own personal world. Diba? It's not
Oo.
just them in the
Yeah.
classroom. This time, it's you're seeing them in their
Yeah.
natural environment, diba? So,
Yeah.
talagang, that's why it's so important for us to build that connection with them, because more than the lessons,
Mm-mm.
it's that
Mm-hmm.
connection that will help them learn more than just, the academics.
Yes, that's so true.
Mm-mm.
I think the valuable part of play is, for at least for my son,
Yes.
that my 9-year-old son kasi he likes to build with clay or torn up paper and things like that. And many times I feel it's messy or it's hard to put
Yes.
together. And
Yes.
I realized during the lockdown, he was never really allowed to do this in school.
Mhm.
Because school was about, because he's grade 4 already, but of course developmentally he's behind his peers.
Right.
So I realized na when he was in school, and he was in school until 3, I don't think he was allowed to tear little bits of paper and then not listen to what's going on. And he would get empty boxes at home of toothpaste or whatever, because to him they look like trains.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
he can spend 2 hours doing that really quietly and with nobody. And I have to stop myself from saying, what train is that, what color is that, because I feel as parents and as teachers we feel sometimes that's
It's like we're
teaching.
drilling them all the time. Yes.
Oo.
Yes. Yes.
Sabi siguro niya,
Oh,
naglalaro ako, ba't mo ako dinidrill?
exactly, exactly. And just being there with them in the moment, and kind of like allowing them to just be engrossed in what they're doing. That's
Mm-hmm.
developing, and
Yes.
that's, they're learning how to sustain their attention. Diba?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
hear a lot of complaints from parents na, oh, bakit short ang attention span ng anak ko? Bakit ganyan? Well, we're often interrupting them. We don't give them the opportunity to
That's
just,
so true.
focus and, be engrossed in something. So, now is that time.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Mm.
I would also, this is I think advice I would give from a mama to all the mamas out there. I wouldn't hover like a helicopter while they're online. I made that mistake siguro the first week or two. I was always right beside him. So whenever my son's teacher would ask a question, and pag hindi lang sumagot yung anak ko kaagad, right away, uulitin ko yung tanong.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then he'd answer me. So what I created was this dynamics where he learned to lean on me. So instead of looking at his teacher, when his teacher asks a question, he would look straight at me because he would wait for that cue.
Right.
So for the moms out there and for the teachers, when you start setting it up, and I would really start with talking to your parents about creating the learning spaces,
Yes.
because that's so important. And then, all the logistical details of even as simple as where to sit, how far, just so that your child knows you're accessible to him or her, but you're not the third teacher in the room.
Yes.
Kasi
The
kawawa
backseat
yung
driver.
teacher.
Yes, yes.
Oo, tsaka kawawa yung teacher ng anak ninyo eh.
Yes, yes. Not just the teacher, also the child, diba? Kasi
Yes,
parang now
yes.
it's like, oh, I have two teachers, teacher mama and teacher, diba? And then,
Yes.
paano na to? Right?
Ano na, sino nang papakinggan ko?
Yes, yes.
I'm just looking here now. Hi,
Mm-mm.
Rhona! Welcome back. Francis Elmido says, I agree. Francis, are you a teacher? Siguro teacher ka, Francis. Naiinis ka siguro sa mga magulang. Yes, you are. Naiinis kasi, and ang nakakatawa doon, Francis, teacher rin ako eh. Pero nung naging mama na ako sa anak ko, sa classes niya, nawala yung pagka-teacher ko. Thank you for those chatting in the, sending messages in the chat box. We had a question in the Q&A section of our webinar. Hello, Paul. What is the ideal number of hours and number of days per week for kids in attending virtual classes? Let us also consider the risk from radiation exposure, the attention span, and all. Thank you, Paul. I am an early childhood educator, so I've been in the classroom for almost 22 years. And you would think I would know the ideal time really for the children. But one thing's for sure is if you go to, let's say, your World Health Organization guidelines for screen time for children below 2 should have no screen time. That's for their health and their well-being. But between the ages of 2 to 5, they really say that 1 hour a day is really maximum for them. to share with you our personal experience, what we are planning to do in the school is we actually are not going to be online every day. So for the younger kids, we will only be online twice a week, and then for the older kids, maybe 3 times a week, but more shortened periods as well. Definitely not an hour and a half, which I think is too much. So I hope we were able to answer the one who asked, Romela Rivera. So welcome back again to all our sharers, and thank you so much for really the time that you've given us tonight. Our third segment on shared purpose is a virtual roundtable where we spark meaningful conversations full of relatable experiences and most especially hope. And I personally, I feel a lot of hope today. At the end of the week, I was feeling very exhausted, but being around mamas like Katrina and Rhona and Coach Christina, really starting off today as this, it makes me feel like we're not the only ones going through this. So we can hold hands with each other, even if someone's in Davao and someone's in Cagayan de Oro. It's really about, yeah, di ba? So we call this part the kitchen table because, di ba tayong mga Pilipino, ang hilig natin kumain eh.
Yes.
So, di ba? So, many of us grew up around the kitchen table, talking, preparing food with our parents or moms or grandparents. And di ba, food really nurtures and satisfies. So, ito pong kitchen table natin is where everything is shared without judgments and respected and heard and honored. And I really loved, not that I love the technical glitches, but I love that it happened because I didn't feel an ounce of judgment from anyone here today about that. And I'm sure Rhona appreciated that safe space we all gave her to maneuver through it and not feel, even when the kids came on the screen, and they were wanting
Natural.
Oo, di ba? Nangyayari talaga yun eh.
Yes.
Oo. So we're joined again by my fellow teacher mamas, Katrina and Rhona. Mikey's there in the background. And again, we're sending you love and light, Mikey, from wherever you're seated there. So I asked this of Katrina already earlier. And I'd really love to hear from Christina as well and from Rhona if she's able to join us. I think she's offline now. But I asked Christina, I think everybody here would be interested. You're there. Okay, there. Okay. So I think everybody... Sure. Well, imagine na lang your beautiful faces there. So maybe I can ask Christina first. What would you think was your biggest challenge as a teacher mama working from home these past few months? And as a coach, I think we would really love to hear about how you coped. Please tell us how.
All right. So I'll start with the biggest challenges, no? Because this is the pandemic, right? So my dad caught the COVID-19. Okay. So nasa hospital siya ng 30 plus days, April 5 to May 12. Okay? And then, syempre, yun yung kasagsagan ng start ng COVID in the Philippines, right? So wala pa talaga lahat. So that was the challenge as a daughter. And then, as a mom naman, I have 2 kids and then no yayas also. So everything, you need to juggle it. Like everything. And then my mom has stage 1 interstitial lung disease na kasi and then asthmatic. So na-hospital din siya noong June. So everything was like paano ko to gagawin? So parang I faced it like my mantra for myself talaga and with my husband, one day at a time. And then with our business, it's a review center, by the way. So my husband was really stressed out as well as the early onset of the March. We were supposed to start the classes, physical class, March 18. And then the lockdown came March 16, 17. So it was really, really chaotic. But at the same time, parang God gave me that, alam mo yon, parang may kick na kaya mo to. Whatever it is, kakayanin nyo as long as you have that balance. So what do I do with my balance? Okay. I saw this quote about balance, no? I'll just share it with you. Balance is not something we find. It's something we create. So from that time, yun lang ako parang okay, hindi ko na kaya, pause. And then I do my cleansing, I do space clearing, I do cleansing, I do also crystals like here. So all the alternative healings that I do, mix match, and then I do self-talk. I face the mirror and then I always tell myself, you are enough. Habang tumutulo ang luha ko, I am enough. I'm more than enough. My kids need me, my mom, my dad, everybody. Kasi na PUI yung sister ko din and the family. So, padala ng food, bawal sa hospital. You cannot even visit my dad. So, I was really, yung parang hindi mo na alam kung saan ka titingin, but deep inside, that divine intervention from God. And hindi mo alam kung paano, but yun. Parang nandun lang yung unconditional love mo na, okay, I can still do this. But the important thing for me, I really cry. My favorite place, the bathroom. Or if lately, wala nang bathroom, wala nang privacy. So my kids would see me crying and then they will tell, Mama, are you okay? And then I will tell them straight, I am not, but later I'll be better. And then they would hug me. So very important sa akin yung physical touch to them kasi young pa eh. So yun, hug, tapos mamaya, Mama, okay ka na? And then, yun, parang they're very resilient compared to us. Ayun. So those were the challenges talaga. But
your dad is okay?
Yeah, my dad is okay na. After 30 plus days, sobrang lucky. And then my mom also okay na din. So yun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a realistic pandemic experience for my family.
Yeah, talagang everything that could happen happened, no?
Yes. And ang happy lang kasi my daughter she turned 11. So, nandun yung urge niya na, okay, I'll call Lola, I'll call Lolo. So, ano niya, talagang naging habit na halos everyday tatawag, mag-video call.
Mm-hmm.
Siguro na fear din siya na of losing the grandparents.
Them.
Yeah.
That's why I think COVID has its painful side, but it also has its blessings and its gifts.
Blessings,
so,
yes.
Diba? So parang I think, and I think wonderful that you talked about tears kasi I think tears are really healing. Diba? I think if our kids also see that we cry, then the biggest life lesson we give them is it's okay not to be okay.
Yes, precisely.
Diba? Kasi minsan we feel, we have to be good and feeling good all the time and perfect all the time. It's an unrealistic expectation for them.
Yes.
So my second question would be, what do you think teachers need to understand to be able to work better with all our parents at home? Our purpose tonight is that we want to bridge the gap between the home and the school. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a lot of unrealistic expectations on both ends.
Yes.
Teachers are not superheroes, although we come close to it. Moms are also not superheroes, although we come close to it, diba? But with the amount of stuff we need to do. So I think there has got to be a better understanding between the teachers and the parents. It's as simple as I tell our teachers who are young, they don't have their own families, so they're, all they teach, they don't have children at home to care for. And I always tell them, be patient with your parents. When they ask you many questions about tech, be patient with them because they're coming at this from a very different level. So for all our young teachers in the audience, please be patient with your tita mom because mahirap to, digital migrants kaming lahat. I also tell them there's so much that goes on in our homes. It's not just homeschooling. So, there's a lot, like with Christina, if let's say school had started and if the school had a better understanding that this was what was going on, grandfather had COVID, there were PUIs, their grandmother also was very much at risk. I think if we had a better understanding of the what was going on at home in the situation, then we could be better partners together. So what do you think teachers need to understand to be able to work better with all our parents at home, and how can we make it easier for you as a parent? So I would put your mama hat on, and then we would love to hear from you. So Katrina, you want to start?
Okay. I think for me, it's really understanding that, we're on the same team. And we both, mama team, teacher team, we want what's best for the child, right? What's best for our children. And so kind of having their needs, the child's need in mind, so at all times, so that when we're frustrated, let's say with a parent, just think of the child. What does the child need? How can you help that child? Because at the end of the day, that's why the child is there to learn. The child is there to learn from you. It's not about your frustrations with the parent only, but what can we give the child, right? And at the same time, it's also really getting to know all these people that are involved, because the teaching is really not just the teacher and child, it's also including our parents, diba? So understanding what's important for them, how can they thrive, what is it that sparks their interest, and just taking extra time to get to know your student beyond just the required, like, these are the modules I need to teach you, and that's the end. No, try to, if it's possible, if your school allows it, if you can spend one-on-one time with the child, that is just so important. And that is something that, can help you also, as a teacher, connect better with your students. Kasi alam nyo, especially now that you're starting a new school year, it's going to be a completely different set of students. That students don't know you yet, diba? So there's a lot of parang unsure things pa. No, you don't know what your teacher is going to be like. The students will know their classmates. And if it were in the the real classroom setting, then they would have different opportunities to connect with each other, diba? But now it's limited kasi kung sino lang yung naka-unmute, or kung sino lang, diba? Or if you have an activity, ganun lang. So as a teacher, I guess a challenge would be to, how can we get everybody together so that we can all, before focusing on the academics, focus on that connection first. No? Yeah.
I love that. That's a great idea. I think for our teachers out there, let's focus on maybe the first 2 weeks of school can really be, you can even call it something if you have units on myself and ganyan. Your first unit could be connection. Diba?
Exactly.
Really creating
getting to know
that.
each other, and kind of breaking that technological boundary that's here, and kind of luring the child into your world so that they're excited to go to class. Diba? It's not just I'm just watching another module, but kind of really connecting with them. Like I see it with my kids when they do their classes. Like if the teacher connects with them and talks to them, parang it's like if the focus is on them, they love it. Ganon.
Diba? The new prize now is being unmuted, diba? Parang,
yes, my turn. Exactly.
Ako na.
Oo.
Thank you very much, Katrina. Would love to hear from you, Christina.
Okay. What are the teachers, no? I myself is a teacher. So I have three, an acronym lang, ACE, A-C-E. Okay. A is for awareness. So you need to be self-aware of what's happening inside you as a teacher. Syempre, ikaw as a teacher, also you're a mother, a daughter-in-law inside your own house. And then you're going to be a teacher to these students, not just like 10, 20, 30, ang dami, diba? Yeah. You have a subject teacher. So more of the awareness as well, what is happening also to the families of your students. Okay? I used to do this inside the class when I was teaching in college with Mikey. I always have that, how are you today? And then I will pass a 1/4 sheet of paper. And then they will write proton, neutron, or electron. And then if they're comfortable writing the reason, so be it. Otherwise, don't. And then before I start my lecture, I collect, and then nasa-sense ko na, like for the college students, na-sense ko na oh, out of the 40, 20 ang proton, neutron 10, and then may 10 na negative. So I will adjust yung energy level ko, how will I discuss the lesson. Okay? That's for the awareness part. So there are lots of strategies that you can think of. And then for C, it's more of communication. You have mentioned earlier about connection. For me, proper communication with the parents per se, and not only for the younger ones, parents are very important. But for the high schoolers, student na talaga. So communication is very important to me. And last would be empathy. We need to empathize. Yung ma-feel natin, yung na-feel nila. Kasi it's different from sympathy. Empathy is more of you put yourself on the shoes of the person na kausap mo. So when we start to empathize, we don't really, wala yung judgment. Like, ay, oo nga, no, we learn to just listen. Parang, at times kasi as wives, no, we don't need the husband to solve the problem. We need the husband to just listen. Diba? Kasi ang husband, automatic, they will, umiyak ka, ano problem? Okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. But for women, the wives per se, we just need to be listened to. So as well as the students, empathy is my top one. So those are the three: awareness, communication, and empathy.
Galing. I took notes and I put it down on the chat because I know there's a transcript. So Mikey, please give me the transcript. I need the notes. No, but it's also for everybody. I think this is a great learning for us. ACE, really acronyms like that. Awareness, communication, and empathy. We'll always remember that. And that's true for all our men teachers out there. I think also working together with women this year, especially online in your teams. I think for our beginning of the year, one of our trainings was about mindful communication with each other. Kasi ngayon, it's so hard to communicate through this medium. So all the more working together is so much harder. So I would keep that in mind, really. Thank you so much. Anyway, for our next question, what we wanted to tackle really is, how about as a teacher, what do you think would be our biggest struggles as teachers that we would like our parents to understand? This is our last question actually for the kitchen table discussion. So it's our way of trying to bridge it together. So alam natin yun difficulties of parents. Mm-hmm. And how about with teachers? It's the biggest difficulty, let's say, as a teacher online. What would you say it would be? Ako kasi, if I were to share, it would be, sanay kasi kami na when you're in the classroom, walang parents. Yes. Diba? So, I think there's less pressure. I see that in our teachers when there's a trial or a sit-in, the parent is there. I see that our teachers get a little bit more nervous because they feel they're being watched and judged, diba? So now we know that when we are online, the parents are there. So I think that's one of the difficulties that a teacher faces is that parang, oh my gosh, every time I'm online, pinapanood ako ng mga magulang. Ano kaya yung sinasabi nila? So what would you say would be a difficulty that teachers face? Katrina?
I think that's a really good point, no? Na there's that parang pressure to perform. Parang it's like you're putting on a performance every time.
Yeah.
No? Yeah. And what we need to remember is that, our teachers, they're humans too. They are people who have their own lives, and being a teacher is just a hat also that they could be wearing. They could be a mom, no? They're a daughter, they're a sister, they're, there are also so many other things, no? And we need to understand and be kind to these people, also to our teachers, because they're here to help us, to support us, diba? They're not there to you know, we're here to work together,
Yes.
right?
So true. Thank you. That is so true. Kindness.
Yes, kind of.
Kindness is key in everything we do, in everything
Yes.
that we get ourselves in.
Mm-mm.
Christina, something brief on that you'd like to share
Um,
with us? 'Cause
Same goes with the ACE acronym. It goes two-way kasi yan eh. So it takes two to tango. So everything
yes.
for understanding and it takes two to tango. So I still have that same acronym: awareness, communication, and empathy.
Yan, that's the next thing na papatato ko. So dalawa na yung tattoo ko tonight. Okay, so really briefly, maybe a one-liner from both of you. We would love to find out what you think we can do to take care of ourselves emotionally this year.
Okay. For me, it would be to not to forget to create space for yourself too.
Space
You
for
know.
yourself. I love that.
Mm-mm.
Create space for yourself. How about Christina?
Okay, for this part, I draw a card from my deck of cards.
I
They're
love that.
there to be grateful. Okay, so the
I
card
love
that
that.
yes, I'll just read. No, gratitude helps you to grow and expand. Gratitude brings joy and laughter into your life and into the lives of all those around you. By Irene Carey. So there, one exercise that I can teach everyone is to have the gratitude list. I do my journal every day. But if you're a startup pa lang for the newbies, you can write 3 grateful things that you are grateful for the day, and then do it for the straight 30 days. And believe me, miracles would happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Grat-
great. I stood up right away because I wanted to get this to show everybody, and I think this is a great thing to do with your family.
Oh
We have
wow!
we have a gratitude jar that we just started. I live with boys, so it's harder to get them talking and stuff. So you can make this with your family and then put cards beside. It's great for your relationship. I think it's great for your marriage. It's great for your relationship with the kids. We've hit some stumbling blocks during the quarantine. That's inevitable for married couples who have to be together 24/7.
Yes.
And I think I love what Christina said about gratitude, because really it puts so many things into perspective. Mine naman would be breathe. Because many times I find it difficult to just breathe and breathe properly. It allows me to just pause. So thank you so much for both. I wish there's a recording of this. I really want to watch this again and remind myself. So anyway, our final activity for shared purpose is the commitment board. We do this because it signifies our intention. So participants, I would be on ready to type in the chat box. We do this because it signifies our intentions and it verbalizes our dreams and makes it more real. Minsan kasi po ang dami nating planong iniisip, 'di ba? As mamas, as teachers, as parents, marami tayong gustong baguhin sa sarili natin. But when we share it in a tribe like this, and really I love the tribe that we've created, we verbalize a commitment, something shared, then something more real. So para tayong may sense of accountability na we have today to look back at. So what Katrina, Rhona, Christina, and I will do, we'll write down our commitments for intentions, our commitments for the coming year. We want to include your commitments as well. So for our panelists, you can use the annotate button there in view options. You can choose to type it out, or you can choose to be brave and draw it out or write it. Then for
Okay.
our participants, please in the chat box, please put what your commitments would be this year. Like, let's say me, I promise to find time to breathe. Or you can say, I promise that when I'm feeling stretched, like what Katrina said, I will pause. So something like that. If you put it into the chat box, We want to include your commitments as well. So what Creo will do is we will type it out and make a nice file out of it and then send to you. So I would encourage you to put it into the chat, and we would love to hear also what you would like to do for the coming years. So I will annotate. And I think I will just type it. I love what Cherry Ann Rampola said, BNAs. I love that. I promise to be kind to myself. From Junaline. From Nilisa, I promise to be kinder. May technical difficulties na ako sa kaka-type ko. Sorry. I like that. I promise to be kind to I promise to have patience all the time. I promise to be flexible. Gratitude is an attitude. I promise to be grateful always. Thank you so much. I promise. Thank you, Christine. I promise to be more patient. Ako rin po. Sige, ako na rin. Create a regular sacred space for myself. I promise to look after myself and to be thankful always. We promise you that we will create something beautiful with your intentions and your commitments today. I promise to always find something positive in everything that is happening, whatever it is.
How would
I promise to choose kindness at all times. I love that. Prioritize myself more. Yes, Aliana, that's beautiful. I promise to be more compassionate and empathic.
Meron kami ng ano lang, parang
Okay. I promise to love myself in spite of whatever it is. And I promise to be grateful to God always for everything. So for the commitments that were typed in, sorry we can't read all of it because we also don't want to keep you tonight. But promise, we will make sure that this is printed out in a nice commitment board that we will send everybody a file. It's something that you can read over and over, print it out, put it in your workspace. I promise to find joy in little things. I love that. Sorry, I had to read it out because it was so nice. So anyway, this will all be included in the title of Commitment Board for the first of what we hope will be a shared purpose series. So today was the first shared purpose of the series that we hope to create. We want to create more discussions between teacher mamas and between teacher mamas and other tribe members, really, so we can hold hands together and support each other this year. The commitment board will be sent to the emails of those who accomplish the survey. So don't forget to please accomplish the survey. So as a reminder, please remember to fill up the online evaluation. If you are not immediately directed to the webpage, you may access the form via bit.ly/sharedpurpose1survey. I think Mikey is flashing it on the board. There you go. We hope to see you, your friends, and colleagues for the next online gathering. And please follow our social media pages for updates. So I think it's on our names also as well. Teacher Mama Thrives, Build Your Happy Place, The Cheerful Mama, and I'm not sure what Christina's is because I'm mabagal when I read that. So if you can just put it in the chat box. Before we end tonight, we would like to thank the man behind the scenes today who didn't think he would go through all these technical difficulties. The pillar behind Creo and the heart behind events like today that brings us all together. Mikey, please turn on your camera. He didn't want to do this, but friends, and everyone, please send Mikey a virtual high five.
No, can I just say, I really want to appreciate you, Michelle, Katrina, Christina, Rhona. Oh my goodness, I want to commend you. You know, in person and virtually, you are all so graceful. I'm just so amazed. And my spirit is really soaring. I cannot imagine doing this with anyone else. Really.
Aww.
Thank you for setting
No,
an example. Thank you for elevating this webinar to a positive and deeply healing experience. My goodness. And to our participants, you guys are awesome. You really filled my heart with
Super.
I did not even panic because of your encouraging energy. So I am now your #1 fan. And I want to see you again. Okay?
Thank you. Mikey,
Thank
don't turn
you.
off your camera. Don't turn off your camera anymore. You're there forever. No, but we'd like to thank you, Mikey, because you were that solid, silent presence behind everything that really made us feel comfortable tonight. We'd like to thank Christina, we'd like to thank Rhona, and we'd like to thank Katrina. It feels like we've known you forever. So, like we were reminded a few weeks ago, we are at the right place with the right people at the right time, always and in all ways. So I really, that's been so true for me the past couple of weeks. Thank you so much. So again, I celebrate and I honor all of you teacher mamas, and I feel so blessed to be with you and sharing this space tonight. On behalf of Creo Early Learning Partners, the Eunoia Empowerment Group, and Teacher Mama Thrives on Instagram, thank you for joining us. We know it's so difficult to give up your Saturday evening, but think of it, may practicum tayo on troubleshooting and keeping that mindset, and we have Rhona's presentation to look forward to. That is our learning module that we will do self-paced in the comforts of our own home. So we're taking our own course today, which is great. So every time mag-brown out ngayon, Rhona, ikaw ang maaalala ko forever. Thank you, Rhona, Christina, Katrina.
Thanks.
Again, everybody, to all our attendees, from our hearts to your homes, please rest well. Find the time to breathe. Stay safe. Let's all have a school year full of promise and potential. Like Mikey and I said, we celebrate and honor you all. Hindi po kayo nag-iisa. Nandito po kaming lahat. Thank you and good evening.